Are you someone that's going to originate forever? Are you going to be the loan officer forever? Or at some point, do you want to do something different than that? Maybe you're the rainmaker, or you're the business development person, just the owner, the silent partner, whatever your long-term goal is. Just realizing that if you're just out there hunting all the time, you're never going to have time to build.
And so, let me ask you this then, if there was a newer broker, maybe somebody, or a newer loan officer at all, somebody who's been in the business for less than 2 years, and they were listening to this interview, this conversation, right, what advice would you give them?
I would say 2 pieces of advice. First, you have to find a mentor. And if you need someone, you can get my contact information and I can try to help. I don't know how much time I have to help everybody, but I can try to help. But finding somebody that's been in it longer, that's a mentor, ideally somebody in a different state that you don't compete with. That's the number one thing you can do to take you from, I'm in year 1 or 2, but I want to have results like I'm in year 5. Okay, don't figure it out yourself. Ask somebody else how they did it. So I think that's the number 1 tip. And then I think the number 2 tip, especially for a lot of these loan officers that came in for the refi boom, is realize that you're not a broker if you only broker to 1 or 2 companies. You are a retail employee. So I'm looking at the camera when I say that. You are not a broker if you only work with 1 company or 2 companies. You need to have at least, say, 5, 10. Well, wait, I have to learn the guidelines and the website, and I got to train my staff. And yeah, that's what the clients are paying you for. If they wanted to go to 1 company, they would just call 1 company. The whole benefit of being a broker is the scale and the variety of the programs and the pricing and the options. So a lot of times when you are first starting, you're just trying to get things figured out. You're so busy, you're all on your own, you don't have a processor, but you have to start building those relationships with multiple lenders earlier so you have more options, so that when one of your lenders jacks their pricing, Home Point, great, they have great pricing. Oh, now they don't want loans anymore because they're backed up. Their turn time's 8 days. It's July. If that's one of your 2 lenders, now that's the service that you provide to your clients. Right. So just realizing that now, filling out the broker agreements now, learning the website and everything now when it's slower, so that when it gets busy, you're ready to scale and you have options. That's what your clients expect from you. It's the minimum expectation. So I think that would be one thing I would tell my younger self or a newer loan officer.
That makes sense. Yeah. So then, after this call, right? Anyone who's made it to this point, right? You guys are strong.
Thanks for sitting through it, right?
Yeah. But after this call, like what should they do? What's the one thing you would suggest somebody take from this and run with?
I don't know. I think I had an idea maybe earlier, but I think my idea has changed. I think really taking the time to write a goal or 2 or 3, putting them on a piece of paper, and then sharing it with at least, let's say, 2 or 3 people, even if it's just your wife or, a husband or kids or somebody that really isn't going to help you achieve the goal necessarily, or even hold you accountable. They say that it's like 50% more likely that you'll achieve it if you write it down and tell somebody. So I think that that's what I would do. I was pretty against that. I was like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need to do that. That's a waste of time. And then I started having employees, and then it was, okay, well, we got to do it for them, right? So we started doing it for them. And you know what happened, Michael? My employees, they all achieved their goals for the year in the first quarter. Yeah.
Wow.
And the reason wasn't because they weren't hard goals. It was just, hey, we wrote it down. We all stared at it every day. We put it on the wall. We called it a vision board. If you don't know what that is, just Google vision board. You can get some ideas.
We stared at it every day. Guy, so I know exactly what that is.
We stared at it every day. I'm staring at it now behind my monitors for each of the employees, and we just start crossing the stuff off the list. And I think it's just amazing. People they overestimate what they could do in a day or a week, but they severely underestimate what they could do in a year or 2. And so if you are willing to believe in yourself and write it down and tell some people, you will do amazing things. Like if your goal is, I want to stop processing all my own files. I want to have a life to myself after 5 p.m. Like, because you're doing sales all day and then you do your processing at night. I know a lot of people, that's how it was for me. I want to have that time back. Okay, so what's it going to take? Well, I'm going to have to set aside $50,000, in my profits this year, set it aside so that I can hire somebody next year, so that even if I bring in the same volume, the same revenue, I have enough to at least get them in for a year, pay them. And then by then, hopefully I start making more. And if I don't, I cut them. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's a sample idea or a strategy. Maybe that's your goal. If that's your goal, write it down, tell a bunch of people about it, and then they'll all ask you, hey, are you going to do that? Or is that something you're still thinking about? And then you'll go, oh yeah, I guess I got to do it. You know what I mean? So that would be my takeaway.
Yeah, that accountability, or just like airing it out there, putting it out there in the world.
Right.
That's why this a lot of people you see doing these what do they call them, the 75-day challenge or whatever, and they're like taking pictures of themselves with their shirts off, and they're
Right.
going like,
Sure.
this is what I look like, and I'm gonna 75 hard. That's what the big deal is
Okay.
these days. And they're doing 2 workouts a day and sticking to their diets, and it's the accountability, right, that helps in those cases. And like you made a great example, right? Scale requires that you free up your time. That's the most important thing in order to allow you to focus on your unique value. And if that's structuring deals, building relationships with realtors, whatever that is, you got to be able to focus on that. And so processing is a great place to start. Another shameless plug, guys, you guys can, as a broker, even bankers, if your bank will allow it, you can hire contract processors per deal. They'll do a deal, they'll process it for you, and you pay them at the end of the deal. And it's easy to scale then, right? I mean, until you're ready to hire somebody on board full time, you may pay a premium per transaction,
right,
at scale, but it gives you the time today to go out there and prospect, or to have more free time or whatever. So just an idea.
Agreed. And
Yeah.
I think that idea is good. I think that I think the challenge I would put out there for anybody that's maybe in that spot where you've got one processor and now what? You and a processor, what do you do next? And by the way, I'm still figuring that out. So, because I just have 2. But I think that the idea is that, are you someone that's going to originate forever? Are you going to be the loan officer forever? Or at some point, do you want to do something different than that? Maybe you're the rainmaker, or you're the business development person, just the owner, the silent partner, whatever your long-term goal is. Just realizing that if you're just out there hunting all the time, you're never going to have time to build. So even that idea of, yeah, we'll get the contract processor, now I can hunt more, now I can make more, that's true. But is that ever going to get you to, well, now I can sell more, or now I can build a team more? And I think that just having the long-term vision to realize, what is it going to take? And maybe that's hiring a processor that could then become a loan officer someday, like looking for that when you're hiring, for example, or just having the longer term thinking. Again, I wish I could have told my younger self that, so that's why I'm mentioning it.
Yeah, long-term thinking, that's so challenging, right? I mean, you got to start with the end in mind. And so
Right.
is that how you're setting your goals? I mean, you're just going, here's my outcome, right? My retirement, my exit from the industry, I want to do this till I'm 90, but in order to be able to scale and to be able to like have freedom,
Right.
and then you just literally walk backwards until you get to your day.
That's what I did for 2020 and 2021, definitely. And then at the end, and I don't know, maybe some of the loan officers out there can relate to this. At the end of 2021, I was so burnt out after those conferences. I set a goal, I beat it. I set another goal the next year, I doubled it. I don't know if other people had that same experience, but I was so burnt out. Like, what am I doing this for? Why am I still in this industry? What's this about for me? And then I had kind of a renewed sense of purpose once I had a salesperson that I was mentoring. So for me, I think that the problem with that strategy is it's a moving target. At one point your goal is something, and then, you do that and you conquer it and you master it. And now what's my new goal? So I think just trying to be patient with yourself, like I had to be, for sure. That was part of it. So now, for example, the thing that's really giving me a lot of fulfillment is watching my team grow and mentoring them, seeing all the challenges that they had, remembering what it was like to be them when I was first starting out. I'm really enjoying that a lot. And maybe this will be my thing for the next, 5 years, and then 2 years, whatever. And then it'll be, you know what, I've done enough of that. I want more of a challenge. I want something else. And then I'll move to a different role within my company. But that's the beauty. That's why it's great,
Yeah, it's really one of those careers, unique careers, where even if you're an employee of another brokerage or a bank, you have the ability to build your business, and that's such an awesome thing.